Hey, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I just wanted to throw in a quick one here. Actually, I wasn't going to do one until tomorrow, Monday morning, because I have a whole list of things to talk about. But this thing down in Texas, the hostage situation, was just so ridiculous that I had to jump in here and give my opinion on something. I'm sure most of you know about that situation. Somebody went in, took some hostages in a synagogue down in where Colleyville, Texas. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that. I've never been there. It could be Colleyville, whichever one it is. Somebody went in and took some hostages, and of course our Phoebes, the FBI, took charge and went down there and started handling the situation. So most of us pretty much knew what was going on, right? Well, their hurt team, their hostage rescue team, went in there and took care of business. And I'm not a big fan of their hurt team. I know a guy who used to be on it, and he was a great guy, a very accomplished person. And I'm sure some of the others are too. Simply know others who are not, and so I'm not real big on that. I think they've been involved in things that, well, let's just say that I'll leave it at that. Okay. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so last night we hear about this, right? And they come on. I'm reading a story from Breitbart from I think it was last night. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, claimed Saturday that an attack and a hostage taking by an armed Islamic terrorist at a synagogue near Dallas, Texas was not, quote, not specifically related to the Jewish community. Now, when it first came out, and they took care of him, they killed him, interestingly. And they said that they had identified the subject. Excuse me if I'm getting ahead of it here. It may talk about this later in this short little blurb, and then I'm going to go to another one. But when they said that they wouldn't identify him, we knew that his name wasn't John Smith, right? Or Viggo Mortensen or something like that. Those crazy Norwegian terrorists, and why did we know that it wasn't John Smith or Viggo Mortensen? Because they wouldn't identify him. If it had been John Smith, if it had been any, Anglo type of name, his name would, and his picture would have been plastered all over the place, as would everything about him down to the time that he was caught doing something he shouldn't have been doing in grade school. But no, we weren't told anything about that. He was identified as a British national, and we were assured that the British government had been advised about this, and they were monitoring the situation. So anyway, so the terrorist burst into the sanctuary during. I'm reading this, so this is a quote. The terrorist burst into the sanctuary during a Sabbath service at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas. Notice how I did that. I kind of went between Colleyville and Colleyville. And took several members of the community hostage. That means people in the synagogue, right? The community, including the rabbi, before being killed by the FBI in a raid. As Breitbart reported during a press conference later that night, FBI Special Agent in Charge Matthew DeSarno said the rescue came as a result. I love this stuff. As a result of a long, long day of hard work by nearly 200 law enforcement officers from across the region. I've been involved in those things. Let me tell you this, it's not hard work. It is not digging a ditch. It's a bunch of people on phones and checking stuff, and talking to each other. And then when something goes successfully, all the team leaders meet up on a stage, and they have kind of a mutual admiration society, telling each other telling the news and the people how wonderful each others are, and of course by extension how wonderful they are. I have a real hard time with that kind of junk, that kind of crap in today's law enforcement. We never used to do that. When there was something needed to be taken care of, we took care of it, and then you shut up. None of our captains, majors, sheriffs, even back then, well, some police chiefs did, but the public never really knew. And certainly you didn't get up there and take a victory lap for doing your stinking job. you people on today might take a lesson from that. So he said they'd put in such a long, long day of hard work. DeSarno said the FBI has identified the now deceased suspect, but said they were not prepared to release his identity Saturday night. He would also not go into details of the hostage taker's motivation. We do believe that from engaging with the subject, he was singularly focused on one issue, and it was not specifically related to the Jewish community. He added, we will continue to work to find motives, and we will continue on that path in terms of the resolution of the incident. Where do people learn to talk like that, especially law enforcement? Man, in my day, people used to talk straight. What is this? We will continue on that path in terms of the resolution of the incident? Is that anything like we'll find out? Okay, these guys are just too fancy. They spend far too much time in an office. Let me go to this other. So anyway, they're going to find out, right? So now we come to today. And of course, we all know what we know, right? Today, they finally admit the FBI has identified the man who took 4 people hostage in the Congregation Beth Israel Synagogue as Malik Faisal Akram, a British national. Now, I know that the United Kingdom now is a diverse country and all that, but saying that he was a British national kind of covers maybe what came before that, doesn't it? Remember, this is our law enforcement talking to us, okay? They're trying to snow us. That's what they're doing. So we're going back to FBI Special Agent in Charge, SAC. They love to call him SAC. Matthew DeSarno identified 44-year-old Malik Faisal Akram, a British national, as the man who took 4 men, blah, 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 blah. Okay. In a written statement, the Phoebes indicated no other person appears to have been involved in the hostage taking. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Blah, 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 blah. Video captured seconds later. They're talking about what the video showed. Oh, yeah, the HRT team went in and there were shots fired and shots rang out and explosions, and now the guy's dead. During a service broadcast on Facebook Saturday morning, here's the crux of the situation. During a service broadcast on Facebook Saturday morning, Akram could be heard demanding the release of a Pakistani neuroscientist who was convicted of trying to kill U.S. Army officers in Afghanistan. Aifia Siddiqui. I have no idea whether I'm pronouncing that properly or not, and I don't care. Whoever she is. The convicted terrorist serving an 86-year prison sentence on multiple charges is reportedly being held at the Carswell Federal Medical Center at Carswell Air Force Base near Fort Worth. Okay. Do you remember? No, most of you won't, but some of you are almost as old as I am. Some of you even a little bit older. Do you remember the old jokes every time somebody got on a plane? This plane's going to Havana in the name of the PLO or something like that. It's just the same stuff. But back then, at least our government and our law enforcement can come right out and say, this is the guy who did it and this is why he did it. And didn't try to snow the population. Okay, well, that's the news for today. It's not the news that I was going to bring, but I just had to get this out here to express my opinion. I'm reading a couple of the comments on here. One says, I wish they'd stop with the British stuff. This guy's no more British than Ilhan Omar is American. That's exactly right. That's what they're trying to do. You see, too much of our law enforcement has become globalists themselves. We talk about how our multinationals don't see themselves as Americans anymore, but globalists. We talk about how many of our politicians don't see themselves as Americans, really, but globalists, citizens of the world. President Obama, I'm a citizen of the world, right? Sadly, a lot of our law enforcement, and this was even going on back when I was on, it was starting, and I saw it a lot in the intelligence agencies. that they had a growing affinity for others in their field more than for the United States. And that's a sad and a very dangerous situation to get into. Um, okay, I could go on, but I won't. It's Sunday night. You all don't want to hear me hammer on that anymore. But I just thought I'd bring that to your attention because, in my opinion, um, I won't say that we're going to see a lot more of this. I don't know. I can't say. But when we do see these things, and I think we might see more of these as as the next political election cycle comes about, we're going to see our own people, our own government, our own law enforcement trying to snow us to keep us from hammering the truth. And that is that there are a number of groups out there in this world and in this country who don't like our country and want to bring it down and want to do anything they can to cause harm and to the country and harm to the people in it. So, just a little nugget for Sunday night. Hope you all have the remainder of your night is good. And I will have more tomorrow. Remember that America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. You can be a part of it by starting. Please, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Make sure that you hit the bell so that you get a notification every time I put up something new. And share this with your friends. That's the way it's going to get around. That's the way that we're going to build a channel. And I'm not saying that this is, all that we do to fight back, but it's one way that we start participating in the process. So I thank you all for all that you do, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.